Let's see. There we go. Hey, let's do a roll call. Roll call. If you're here, let me know who you are. Say hello. I'm typing that in the notes right there. Hey, here's what we're going to be doing in today's lesson. So this lesson is intended for my freshman students, whether you're in the Cambridge class or not. This is for you. If you're in the Cambridge class, this is definitely a review. If you're not, it's going to be a little new, but that's quite all right. So here, let me switch over to the document camera. Let me show you what we're going to be looking at here. Today, here's what we're going to do in this lesson. We are going to look at the homework from yesterday, but we're also going to be looking at Vertex Form. We're going to be looking at what Vertex Form is, how it's useful, and we're going to be seeing, and this is what you're going to be doing for your assignment today, is you're going to be changing from from Vertex Form into standard form. So those are the things we're going to be doing. Well, what do you guys think? Having some difficulty with my internet, it looks like. It's really slow. Either way, it doesn't matter. It'll buffer for a little bit for you guys, but then it'll get caught up. Oh, we got a couple people in here. Got Dida and George. Hey Dida, hey George, how are things? Hope everything's good. Ready to get into this? Let's do it to it, right? So, let's start off with what Vertex Form is. So, here, let me get my papers organized. We're going to come back to these at the end, make sure we hit them all. So at the end of the video, I'll put these on the side. We'll come back to them. Oh, man, yeah. All right. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hey, in the last lesson yesterday, here's what we did. We had homework like this right here. And a lot of people said that I probably made a sign error. I think it was on number 2. So I thought maybe it'd be a good idea if we just go ahead and do these real quick. So if I have X-intercepts of 2, 0 and negative 4, 0, like that, the vertex negative 1, negative 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right there, and 0, 8. So this one works fine. Kind of missed a spot there, but that one works all right, right? And this one, let's see, this is one where everybody said I had a problem. So negative 1, 0, and 1, 2, 3, 0. There is a problem right there. You see this right here? That's supposed to be a plus 1. So if you caught that, then you did really good. That doesn't work like that at all. 0, negative 3. So we could have had, if this was 1, negative 4, I bet it would work just fine. I bet if it was right there, it'd work fine. So I know I didn't do it on purpose, but I'm going to say if I did this on purpose, hey, Mariana, how's things? If I did this on purpose, it would be to catch you. I had the wrong screen up there. Dang. What a loser I am. Hey, Mariana, I hope things are good. Let's see here. Hope everybody's doing well. So let's see. There we go. Boy, I'm having some difficulty with my computer today. Again, I don't know. Yesterday morning my internet was really slow too, and today it's really slow. It's like cycling between too slow to stream and then like perfectly great. So I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, so here's what I was saying. Let me try this again. I apologize. So check this out. This one right here, there's a sign error. It's my fault. When I wrote this, it should have been 1 and negative 4. Oh yeah, Dida did wake up to some math videos. Oh, and Angela's here. Uh-oh. Man, Dida and Angela in one group. That sounds like trouble. So, yeah, negative 1 and negative 4 didn't work. So, anyway, hope you caught that. Put this away. Ali's here too. Boy, look at this. We got a whole crew. You know, it's interesting. Almost every single one of you is a sophomore. Oh, you guys are just on it. Man, because this video is supposed to be for the freshmen, but we're going to be talking about Vertex Form, but you guys need this anyway. So I think it's going to be good. So let's see here. You know, there's one person here that I don't recognize by their username, and I'll type it here in the message in the chat window. I think I know. I'm pretty sure that this person right here is a student of mine, but I don't recognize the name exactly. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, and we got the French Bulldog coffee going here. That's your brother? How old's your brother, Dida? Oh yeah, good coffee. Ruben's here too. Hey, Ruben, good morning. I hope things are good. Hope you guys aren't going too stir crazy. Overloading the Netflix accounts, fighting with your sisters, fighting with your brothers, driving your mom crazy, all that. Yeah, all right. Well, tell you what, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and continue with this lesson right here, the things we're going to be talking about. And this is a review for most of you. Oh, that's not him. Okay. Yeah, and Ruben is late once again, right, Mariana? So, we're going to be talking about what vertex form is, how it's useful, and how to change from vertex to standard form. So those are the wonderful things we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about all of those things right there. So, let's get into it. So, what vertex form is it's a way to write a quadratic equation. So, for example, well, here's one right here. F of x equals, this is the generic, right? X minus h squared plus k, right? And, yeah, so that's vertex form. Standard form is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. That's standard form. Hey, you guys let me know in the comment, when I'm using the document camera, can you guys hear me? Because it's a little farther away from the microphone. So I just want to know. So let me know. All right, so this is vertex form, this is standard form. And the only thing that's the same between the two, well, there's two things that are the same. They're both quadratic. And a is the same. The leading coefficient is the same between both, right? Now, well, check this out. From standard form, like let's say this right here. Let's say it was 2x minus 1 squared plus 3, right? And let's say that standard form we had something like, oh, hold on, give me a second. Let me see what that would be equal to. X squared minus 2x plus 1. So this would be 2x squared minus 4x plus 5. So these two things are actually equal to each other, right? And the things I'm going to show you how to do today is how to change from this to that, right? But first, let me show you some of the things that are a little different between the two. One of the things that's different is, like for this one right here, if you want to find your Y-intercept, let me use a pencil here. If you want to find your Y-intercept, you know you just put a 0 for x and you solve for y, right? Ah, good. I'm glad you guys can hear me. So if you put a 0 and a 0, you end up with 5, right? Well, this one, you actually don't even need to do the math. I mean, if you wanted to do the math to find the Y-intercept, you could do that, and you just do all the math, 2 squared, or 0 squared is 0, times 2 is 0, minus 4 times 0, which is 0 plus 5. You could just, figure it out. You don't have to really write it out. But here, it's actually the same thing. You put a 0 for the y. That's what this notation means. You plug it in. So you actually have a little bit of work to do to find the y-intercept from vertex form. So it's 2 times negative 1 squared plus 3, right? Negative 1 squared is 1. And so it's 5. So it's still 0, 5, which written as a coordinate is that way. Written in function notation, which you guys a lot of you guys here are in the room right now or in this chat right now are sophomores. You will be having a quiz on function notation here pretty quick. So that's function notation, and that's written as a coordinate. They mean the same thing. This is x is 0, y is 5, input is 0, output is 5, right? Input, output, x, y, all the same, right? All right, so now, back on track with vertex form. So that's one of the ways that vertex form is different than standard form, is how you have to go about finding the y-intercept. But let's talk about now finding x-intercepts, right? And let's compare the two. From standard form, like this one right here, from standard form, you have a couple of choices. You either have to find the x-intercepts, well, the first thing you got to do is you got to set it equal to 0, right? Either way, on both, you have to set them equal to 0, and then you have to solve for x, right? Either way, you have to set it equal to 0, and you have to solve for x. So, oh, Hector's late. Oh, Hector. Hey, Hector. How you doing, man? I didn't see you yesterday. Hope things are good. So, anyway, man, it's weird teaching like this because, I mean, I can see you guys in the chat, but I have to, like, look all the way over, and I have to look all the way over at my screen over there because, like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but, like, here, hold on. Let me see if I can organize this so you can see how this is set up. So all I did right here is I put my streaming software underneath the document camera. So right now I'm looking like right at the document camera, so I'm looking at like where you guys would probably see me. But it's over here that I have the, sorry, it's over here that I have the document camera. So here in front of me, right there, is the web camera that you guys see, and over here is the document camera, and my microphone it's right there. You see? And then the document camera is over there. So that's how things are set up here. And so it's kind of strange because when I turn to face the document camera so I can see where I'm writing, I can't see what you guys are saying. So it's kind of weird. Anyway, and then it's also weird because, I don't know, I don't get to joke. Not really. Well, we're going to make the most of it, right? It'll be okay. So let's go ahead and get back to the to the stuff we're working on. Here we go. Right? So here's what we were talking about. We were talking about x-intercepts from standard form. So no matter what, to find x-intercepts, you have to set y equal to 0, and then you solve for x, right? In the next lesson, we're really going to be talking about is solving this. But the deal is, here's the big idea. For this one, you can use inverse operations. To solve these, you can use inverse operations. From standard form, inverse operations aren't going to work. You're going to have to either factor or use the quadratic formula. You have to use one of those two, and both of which are a little trickier than this. This inverse operations, it's almost always the same. You're going to subtract this number, then you're going to divide by that number, then you're going to take the square root, and then you're going to add 1. We're going to get into that in the next video, though. But that's another difference between these two. Now, the biggest difference, and the biggest reason why standard form, or why vertex form is easier, has to do with finding the vertex. You never even noticed, bro. I never noticed what? Hector says, he never even noticed, bro. Hector, what didn't I notice? He said, I never even noticed. I said, shh. He never noticed, bro. But it's not bro anymore. It's brah. Man, I mean, you're my favorite Hector. Can't be casting shade like that. Anyway, let's get back to it, shall we? So, we're going to be talking about vertex form now and finding the vertex. Okay, so from vertex form, the example we've been using, the example I was using was 2x minus 1 squared plus 3, right? And from standard form, the same exact equation was 2x squared minus 4x minus 5, right? So those were the two. So from standard form, finding the vertex, probably the easiest way to do it is to use this formula. We've done this formula in the past, and if you don't know what this is, then we'll have to do that later. Can we get an F in the chat for Hector? Ruben asks. Can Hector get an F? Well, sure. Why not? Why not? Can Hector get an F for the chat? That's what Ruben wants to know. Seems fair. I don't know. Hey, Jerry. It's nice to see you there. Can Hector get an F for the chat? I mean, sure. What do you think, Hector? Let me know what you think. Should you get an F for the chat? Nah, of course not. Hector, I think you're going to get extra credit just for Ruben and Mariana picking on you. What do you think about that? Anyway, Jerry, hope this video helps. You can, I don't know if you started it just now, jumped in. You can stream. You can start from the beginning so you can catch up on all the information. And let me know if you have questions when you get caught up with us. All right. All right. So now let's get back to it. Man, you guys are distracting. I blame Ruben. So here's what we got. We're going to find the vertex of this. And we had learned this formula. And if you don't know that formula, that's okay. We're going to do that here in the very near future. We're going to use that formula to find the vertex. But that's pretty complicated because, look, you've got a negative fraction where you have to take the coefficients, and then you have to simplify that, and you have to plug that in, you have to square it, and you have to combine like terms. It's actually kind of labor intensive. Whereas here, the vertex is super, super easy. So check this out. Here's the generic vertex form, right? The vertex is going to be H, comma, K. The only thing that's tricky about this, oh, sorry, I bumped the microphone there, is this H number. It's going to be the opposite sign of what you see. So like here, it looks like H is a -1, but H is not a -1. H is just this number right here. H is actually +1. You see how this is a negative and that's a negative? So H is 1, and 3 is the y of the vertex. So this graph right here is going to have 1, 1, 2, 3 right there. That's where the vertex is going to be, 1, 3. Now, do you guys also see how A is a positive number? That means this graph's going to go up. This is the first example that we've seen where we don't have we don't have any X-intercepts. First example we've done like in the last couple videos. And Angela, oh wow, she's a cheapilona. She wants extra credit too. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think Angela deserves extra credit? Mariana says that somebody deserves, probably Hector, a virtual tardy. Yeah, Jerry, I'm doing great. Nida says F means respect, so no extra credit for Hector. I think Dida and Angela Acosta are both being cheapilonas and maybe even a little hateful. And I think to make it up to the rest of us, when we come back to school, I think those two should bring some donuts. Oh yeah. Elena says she is still too asleep to be doing this. Yeah, me too, Elena. But I don't know. I got up anyway because, yeah, got to have a semblance of normal life, even though we're not in school. But you know, you can. This will be loaded. You can always watch it later. Dida says she was the first one here, so she deserves the extra credit. Oh man. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because she's the first one here, does she deserve the extra credit? Oh, man. That's a tough question. And as far as how's the pug, Mariana wants to know. Well, the pug's great. He's not up here right now. I kicked him out because he's kind of noisy. So, yeah, I know my stream's lagging. I don't know why the stream's lagging so bad. My internet's being really kind of crappy right now. No, it's not you guys. It's my internet that's lagging. I'm not sure why. I stopped all the uploading of everything and all that kind of stuff. It's being kind of temperamental. It doesn't want to work. It's too early. It's too early. It's too early. Jerry wants to know if I miss you guys. Well, just you, Jerry. Yeah, just Jerry. Only miss Jerry. So let's see. Yeah, I don't know why it's. I don't know why it's acting like that. I'm reading about what's going on here. All my errors and data issues, and my stream status is poor. And I don't know. Hold on. Let me check something. Okay. I'm gonna see what's going on here. We got poor streaming connectivity, and man, I'm not sure why. So you guys are gonna be experiencing some buffering. Huh. Makes me wonder what my internet speed is. Let's find out. Ready? Internet. Jerry, you're gonna look like a hippie. Jerry says he hasn't gotten a haircut in a while. Yeah, well, me neither. Or a beard cut either. Oh, Elena, your dogs are there to distract you. Yeah. So here's what I'm doing. I'm doing a speed test, and it's not so great. I don't know if you guys can see that. 8. And the upload, that's the problem right there. Look how low that upload speed is. Man, no wonder. The upload is 0.69 megabytes. That's horrible. But now that you know what? It's kind of like checking on a child, because now that I check that, it says I have excellent connectivity. Oh boy. Dida wants to know if we are coming back on the 10th of April, and I don't know. As of right now, that's all they've said. Just basing it on what it looks like in other places, I'm suspicious that we won't be coming back, but that is 100% my guess. Just my guess. I have no idea. Mariana, what are you making for breakfast? Oh, man, that's what I want to know. I want to know what Mariana is making for breakfast. I had, I already took it downstairs. Dang it. I had eggs and potatoes with some salsa. So, of course, it was good. Yeah, let's see here. So, let's see. Oh, wow. Ruben says I should play some guitar. Ruben, I don't know if you can see, these fingers have absolutely no callus. I haven't picked up, it's shameful. I haven't picked up my guitar for a while. I was looking at all my stuff over there, and, no. Makes me sad. I almost did the other day, though. Jerry's having a donut. Jerry, where's my donut? That's what I want to know. Where's my donut, Jerry? All right. I think the streaming quality is okay now. So let's finish our lesson, and then we can kind of BS. And I'll look over and see how you guys are doing anyway. And Mariana needs to make us all breakfast. So here's what we were talking about. With Vertex Form, you have a number right here inside the parentheses. That's h. And so the x coordinate of the vertex is going to be the opposite sign of the number you see. Let me give you another example. Let's say we had this. Do you see that right there? Let's make this an 8 so we don't confuse the two 3's. Here, the vertex, it's actually going to be negative 8's the y coordinate of the vertex. The x coordinate of the vertex is negative 5. And so from this, I can actually tell, because that is in the third quadrant, it's going to be somewhere over here. And A is positive, so I can tell just by looking like that, this is going to have 2 X-intercepts. But the real point of what we're trying to get at right here is that you can take whatever number is right there, and that number, the opposite sign is the X coordinate of the vertex. And this number right here, that's the Y of the vertex. So the nice thing about vertex form is you can just look, boom, you got it. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, Mariana, that's good practicing social distancing, especially from Hector. So yeah, he can't come get some breakfast. Iced coffees, an Oreo, and a sandwich. Well, Dida, what kind of sandwich? Iced coffee from Dutch Brothers sounds great. Yeah, Elena, it does, but we don't have one here. It makes me sad. Darn. All right. So, anyway, now on to the last thing, and this is what you guys are going to be doing for your tarea hoy. I know I have horrible Spanish, but we're going to take from standard form x minus h squared plus k, and what we're going to do is we're going to change that into, we're going to start with vertex form, and we're going to change that into standard form. That's what we're going to be doing, okay? So, yes, Dida. So Dida had a question. She said, so like, really, you could kind of think of the vertex as being negative h comma k. You can kind of think of it like that. I mean, technically what they say is if you have something like this, then what that really is h is negative 3. Do you see what I mean? So what they're really saying, here, I'm going to write it pretty like all of you. Especially you, Hector. Here, I'll write it prettier, and then we'll talk about it. So the way that we talk about this is we say that here h is actually a negative 3. That's what we're saying. But if you want to think about it that way, that works too. It's kind of the same way. It's a different way of approaching it. We do it this way because it has to do with when you square it and inverse operations and all that kind of stuff, but we're all good. We're all good. Oh, wow. So it looks like Ruben has a favorite breakfast. Huevo con tortilla. Man, my Spanish is getting better at home, isn't it? Sounded like my mother right there. Wow, that was white. All right, so anyway, let's get to this part right here, shall we? X minus h squared plus k, and that transitions to ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So we're going to be changing from vertex to standard, right? I'm going to show you how to do that. And the homework assignment today is going to be just that. And you're welcome, Dada. Oh, Jerry, is your dog learning math? Jerry says, my dog is watching your videos with me. So, yeah, is your dog? What kind of dog? What kind of dog do you have, Jerry? All right. Maybe your dog will learn how to change from vertex to standard form. But my question is, who's going to tutor her? Who is going to tutor? I can't speak English either. Who is going to tutor who? Is the dog going to help you, or are you going to help the dog? Because most of the time, my dog helps me because, I don't know, I get confused about stuff. All right, so let's see an example. Now, we are already saying that these two right here were the same here. That this one right here and this right here were the same. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to change this into that. Oh, an American Bulldog. Those dogs, man, they have gas, Jerry. You know, that's the nice thing about having an American Bulldog is because they have gas and they fart so often that should you actually have an upset stomach and have gas, if you're around the dog, you can just blame the dog. You understand what I mean? So Jerry says he's got an American Bulldog, and my advice to everybody with a dog like that is to keep them around, because if they're with you and you have an upset stomach, then boom, you can just blame it on them. All right, so Oh. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, let's get back to it. I don't know how good this lesson's going, but it is entertaining, and there's a bunch of you here right now, so I think you guys are having fun too. And that guy, I don't know if he's still here. The one, what was his name? It was the Manny guy. Manny, oh yeah, Manuel Garcia Vega. He said hi. Man, I don't know exactly who that is. If it's not a student of mine, it's cool that he hangs out and stays. Maybe hopefully learns some things. Yeah, brown and white, almost like a boxer. Yeah, I know what the American Bulldogs are, Jerry. They're big. They're cool. I almost got one. Um, yeah, and Mariana, you're right. You got to have the beans with the eggs in a burrito in the morning. I couldn't agree more. All right, so let's get to this, shall we? Um, Check this out. We're going to change this into standard form. All you got to do is you just got to follow the order of operations. And so if you ever get confused, you can just write it out. But for these, changing this into standard form, it's always the same exact steps. It's the order. The order is always 100% the same. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to do the exponents. You see this exponent right there? You're going to do that first. Only thing you got to be careful of is don't kill a kitten. See, x minus 1 squared does not. See, that means not equal. It's not equal to that. It's also not equal to this. Oh man, now I got poor connectivity again. So neither one of these work. This is not right. X minus 1 squared is really x minus 1 times x minus 1. So that's x squared, right? First. Outer is negative x. Inner is negative x. Last two, negative times a negative is positive. So this is x squared minus 2x plus 1. Now my hope is that you can do that in your head. But I know that you get a little, sometimes you can just get rusty, right? So anyway, first thing you're going to do is you're going to square that. You can do it as scratch work if you need to, like this. And then you got to plug it back in. So don't lose your parentheses. So that's x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus 3. So this whole thing in the parentheses, when we square it, that's what you get. But it has to stay in the parentheses because it's still being multiplied by the 2. But you have to do exponents before you can do multiplication. All right, so first thing we do is square. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply. We're going to distribute. You have to multiply that 2 times everything inside the parentheses. And it helps if you use a good pencil like a Dixon Ticonderoga number 2. And no, I'm not sponsored by them. I just think they're the best pencils. Like that. You see? Distribute. And then we're going to add or subtract. We're going to combine like terms. So there's only these two right here, and this is how it works every single time. You just are going to have those two that can be combined. And so your final answer, 2x squared minus 4x plus 5. That's how I got that earlier. Because earlier, remember I said, hey, these two things are equal. I did it on Scratchwork on a little post-it note that I can't find. But anyway, that's what I did to figure out what this equaled earlier. I just squared it, multiplied by 2, and added the 3 to it. So Alicia wants to know, is this from the quiz? Hey Alicia, hope things are good. Nice to see you here. You've missed out. You know, we decided that Hector gets extra credit and Mariana and Daida have to bring us food when we come back. So that's pretty exciting news. And anyway, you wanted to know if this, I'm assuming you mean like the lesson we're doing, is from the quiz or just quadratic formula. So actually it's neither. What we're doing is, this lesson's actually for the freshmen, but a lot of you sophomores, you forgot a lot about quadratics. So all we're doing in this one right here is talking about what vertex form is and how to change from vertex to standard form. So I'm going to be posting one of these every single morning for the freshmen, and you sophomores, of course, are very welcome to join because it's going to help you no matter what. No matter what happens for the rest of this year and what happens for next year, like what class you're in next year, whether you're in the AP courses or just regular pre-calc, no matter what, you have to know this really, really well. Okay? And then Ruben says, oh yes, talking about the quiz, do we email you the work or how are we supposed to turn it in? Actually, for the quiz, what we were going to do, what we talked about, is we were going to grade it together later today. So this afternoon, I'll do a little bit more of a focused live stream. This one's been kind of random. I'll do a more focused live stream where we'll talk about, we'll go over all the answers, which I actually think you guys have the grading key, right? And then we'll grade it and talk about it together. So yeah, Alicia, it's going to be later today. There's some meetings that are popping up for me that I have to be in, like a conference call kind of thing. So I need to figure out exactly when we can do that, but we'll do it today. And if you can't be there, like in the chat room when we're doing it live, we'll record it and you can always watch it and go over it, and then you can always email questions or ask the questions in Google Classroom. Is that good? That makes sense? Oh man, I see it's probably buffering again because now once again I have poor connectivity. Oh boy. Jerry, what kind of Cheetos, brother? Man, your fingers are going to get all orange. All right. So let's get back to, let's finish up this part right here. So we've got this, when you got standard form, when you got vertex form, you want to change to standard form. All you have to do is follow the order of operations. So let's do one more example. Let's do -5, and then let's do an x minus 3 squared, and let's do plus 7 or something like that. How's that? Alicia, do I know what time it will be? I don't know yet, but I'll let you guys know. And hopefully it works out for your schedules and everybody. And maybe as time goes on, we can kind of get a more set schedule for when and how we're going to do all of this stuff, right? As of right now, like I'm here, I'm working at home, right? So I'm pretty much in my office from say 7:30 or 8 in the morning until around 4, and then I go downstairs to eat lunch, and otherwise I'm pretty much here, and then I'm answering you guys your questions and comments and things in Google Classroom pretty much all the time because I have the app on my phone. But I think it would be a good idea if we can kind of schedule, hey, this is the hour where we'll be talking to the freshman classes, and this is the hour we're going to be talking to the sophomore classes. And maybe we could do it like in the morning and the afternoon. So in the morning would be new information, and the afternoon might be, or the other way, maybe in the morning would be review from the previous day, and in the afternoon would be new information. I don't know. Maybe I'll put out a poll. I'll write it up. Maybe I'll put out a poll. Maybe I'll put out a poll later so that we can kind of talk about that, where we can maybe see what works best for you guys. So try to figure out some sort of schedule so that you guys can at least have some structure. That way you're not sitting around wondering. So we'll see what we can figure out along those lines, right? Okay. Let's do this last example here. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to change this, which is vertex form, right? A x minus h squared plus 7. This has a vertex of 3, 7. 3, 7 is in the first quadrant, right? First quadrant's over here. And do you see that this one's going down? So this is going to have 2 x-intercepts, right? And that's not the point of this lesson, but I think it's something that, especially if that's something you need to be thinking about, something you need to look at. Because it's a really easy way to help you know if there's x-intercepts, and finding the x-intercepts, whether you're in standard form or vertex form, is probably the trickiest thing to do, is finding the x-intercepts. So let's change this to standard form, shall we? We're going to do, just like before, we're going to do the exponents first. X minus 3 squared, it's going to be x squared minus 6x plus 9. If you do the work, if you write it all out, the first make x squared, right? The outside is negative 3x, the inside is negative 3x, and the last two make positive 9. So this is going to be negative 5 x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus 7. So we squared it, but this is still being multiplied by negative 5, so we still need to keep the parentheses. So now we're going to distribute negative 5x squared plus 30x minus 45 plus 7. So all we got to do to finish this up, combine like terms. and that's going to be a 38, I think. Not very good at math, but I think that's 38. So first thing, square it. Second thing, distribute. Last thing, combine like terms, and it's only going to be these two that you're going to combine. That's the only things that are going to be like terms for you to combine after you've squared it correctly, and you combine like terms right here to get this b term. Anyway, that's really it. That's all there is to those. So I will upload this document, including the notes and everything, in Google Classroom. But there are some practice problems that you guys are going to have to do. And here, I'm going to print it out. I'm going to print it out. It's just page 5 I need, and then I'll put that on the document camera. All right, now let's go back to, so you guys can see my beautiful face. All right. Alicia wants to know, where does distributing go with Pemdas? So distributing is multiplying. So distributing goes with the m. So like let's see here. Yeah. So that's why you do the distributing after the exponent, because distributing is multiplication. Yeah, makes sense? Good question. Let's see, can we go over the other way around from standard form to vertex form? That's what Hector wants to know. Can we go from standard form, or that's what Ruben wants to know. Can we go from standard form to vertex form? Yeah, why not? Before we do, here are the practice problems. Here, let's zoom in on these right here. Let's zoom on these. Let's see, can we see those first? So those of you who are freshmen, this is going to be your assignment for the day. There are 2 parts, 3 questions for part 1, and it says change to standard form. So we got vertex, and we're changing to standard form, right? And then it says to determine if there are going to be any X-intercepts or not, based on the sign of A and the location of the vertex. So if A is positive, it goes up, right? If A is positive, and you find out the vertex is in quadrant 1 or 2, there's not going to be any X-intercepts. If A is negative, it goes down. If A is negative, it goes down. So if A is negative and the vertex is in the 3rd or 4th quadrant, you're not going to have any X-intercepts. Okay, next up. You're going to find the vertex and the Y-intercept. So the Y-intercept's really easy. Put a 0 for X, solve for Y. We did an example of that at the beginning. The vertex is even easier. So like, it's the opposite of that number is the X coordinate, the opposite of this number, and then that number. So I'll post that up in Google Classroom for those of you who are in 9th grade right now. Now, let's see. Oh, thank you, Hector. I do believe I'm quite good looking, and my hair's even crazy and everything. So let's see here. Ruben says, can we go over the other way from standard to vertex form? Absolutely. We'll do that right now. And Ida says, do we need to complete the square to do standard to vertex? Yes. To go from standard form to vertex form definitely involves completing the square. And as you guys can see, for some reason, my internet at my house is just absolutely awful right now. And so I actually made a video on that last night. Like a video, not like a live stream. A video on changing from standard to vertex form using completing the square, but I couldn't get the stupid thing to load. It tried all night and it just never loaded, so I had to abandon it. All right, so let's do the other way. Per Ruben's request, let's see if we can figure out how to go from standard to vertex. I got another pencil all sharpened and ready to go somewhere. Here we go. So we're going to do this right here. From standard to vertex form. You guys ready? So standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. Vertex form is ax minus a plus k. Now it's true, like you could actually, like if you wanted, you could actually use the formula for finding the vertex in standard form and then kind of just rewriting it. But I think it's a really good idea that you know how to complete the square. It's going to come up in other stuff in the future, like after this class. So I think it's going to be a really good idea for you to know how to do this by completing the square. And yeah, my streaming quality is really, it's kind of frustrating. But oh well, whatever. We're gonna make do, right? So let's do it the easy example first when a equals 1. So let's say we had x squared. Um, let's do the easiest kind of example where it's positive, where b is positive, and it is even. So let's say we're going to do that one right there. And we're going to have to change this to vertex form. So you're right, you do have to complete the square. And if you remember, when you're completing the square, there's a relationship for a perfect square. For a perfect square, if you take half of b and you square it, that's going to be equal to c. Do you remember that? Half of b squared will equal c. So here's how we do that. We rewrite it and we leave space, right? Rewrite it, leave space. And then what we have to do, we have to take half of this number, square it, and add it here and subtract it here. We're adding and subtracting from the same side so that it's still equal to what it was before. So half of 8 is 4. So we square it here. We add it and we subtract it. Thing is, we don't square it here, we do square it there, because here, our next step, if you remember, is going to be to factor. And that number goes right there every single time without fail. So, the vertex form of this is that. Do you see? We could check it. Let's check it. The way we could check it is this has to be the same value, so we're going to change this back, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to square it. And that is right. That works well. So these two things, this is correct. This is vertex form of that. That's standard form. That's the easiest kind of way is when b is positive and even. Let's see an example where b is not even. Let's say, we'll keep it positive. Let's say it was like this, and we wanted to change that into vertex form. So this is a little trickier because when you take half of 5, you get a fraction, right? But it works out pretty easy. Just be patient and calm, and it's going to work out. So we rewrite it, we leave space, just like before. Now we have to take half of this and square it and add it and subtract it. But here, we don't square it. Here we do. The reason we don't square it here is because our next step is to factor, and I don't know if you remember, but every single time you do that, that number, that factor you're looking for is this. Because if you did factor, or if you did multiply this is what you'd get. And I don't know what multiplies to 25 over 4 and adds to 5. Turns out it's 5 over 2. 5 over 2 times 5 over 2 is this. 5 over 2 plus 5 over 2 equals 10 over 2, which is, of course, 5. But that's really hard to figure out, so just follow the shortcut, right? And then, of course, here we're going to combine like terms, so that's the same as 4 over 4. So that's 29 over 4, and we're done. You see? Now, that's when a is equal to 1. It's a little trickier when a doesn't equal 1. When a is not 1, we got to divide it out of the first two terms. We got to move c across, and but it's not too bad either. I mean, it's something we can handle. So let's see an example of that, right? So we're going to change from vertex to standard form when a is not 1. So let's do an easier one. Like let's have everything be even. Oops. Start off in standard form would be good, right? So let's say we had 2x squared minus 8x minus 3, for example. Let's say we had that. All right. Now, if we wanted to change this to vertex form, we have to still rewrite it, right? But there's two things we're going to do. We're going to divide this number, that a, because, in standard form and in vertex form, a is the same number. Do you see what I mean? These coefficients in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c, and the coefficients, or actually the numbers in vertex form, a x minus h squared plus k, h and k and b and c, those are different, but a's got to be the same number for both. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide this out. Do you see? You see what I mean? We're going to divide that 2 out of the first two terms. So what we're really doing is we're really trying to put parentheses right here. But we can't just put them there like that because we've changed the value, because if you distribute, you would get 16. So here's what we need. We need x squared minus 4x. You see what I mean? Because if I distribute now, I get 2x squared, and I get minus 8. I'm gonna rewrite this a little bit so I got more room so I can be neater. There. Okay, now we have to take half of b, square it, and add it right here. So I got to take half of b, square it, and add it right there, and I have to subtract it over here. Well, half of negative 4 is negative 2. Now, when I subtract it here, I have to be careful. It's true, I added 4. This is negative 2 squared is 4. I added 4, but it's actually being multiplied by 2, which is 8. Do you see? So I'm not going to write 8. I'm going to do this right here. It's going to be 2 times 4. I added 2 of them here because I'm distributing. So I have to subtract 2 of them to keep the same value. So now I'm going to factor. That number right there goes right there every time. And then 8 and 3 is 11, so minus 11. And if we wanted to check that again, we could. We would just square it. So 2x squared minus 4x plus 4 minus 11. So that's 2x squared minus 8x plus 8 minus 11. 2x squared minus 8x minus 3. That's what we started with. We're good to go. So let me see here. Mariana's asking a question. Mariana wants to know. So when b isn't even, we leave it as b over 2. That's right. You just reduce it as much as you can, and that's all you can do. So you just leave it as a fraction, and you roll with it. Let's do, I think it'd be good to do one more example where, well, like, see the one we just did. Even though a was not 1, b was even, and it divided out evenly. So this one worked out kind of pretty. So I think maybe it would be a good idea if we try one more example where it's going to be pretty much really ugly. Hold on, I got to read this comment right here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get to that one right here. So here's what we're going to do. Let me switch over to the document camera. All right, so here's the ugliest one that we've got, right? So let's say we had f of x equals 3x squared and then minus 7x plus 4. So that's about as ugly as it's going to get right there. So let's do this one right here together, right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it. We're going to divide the 3 out of the first 2 terms. Yeah? Like that. All right? So that's the very first step. We just divide we're going to take the 3 out. So this is x squared. That part's no problem. This is going to be 7 over 3x. Okay. So now we got to be careful. This is something I mess up a lot because I already see the fraction. I forget that I need this situation to be true. I need half of b squared to equal c. Do you see what I mean? And here, b is 7 over 3. So I need 1/2 of b, and then I have to square it, and that needs to be equal to c. So right now, b is actually negative 7/3. You follow me? So that's actually going to be negative 7 over 6, or 49 over 36. Do you follow me? You see what I mean? All right, so I have to add this here. So plus a negative 7/6 squared. And here I have to subtract 3 of those. Here I have to subtract 3 of 49 over 36. Yeah. Now my scratch work is kind of crowding my regular work over there, and I hate when that happens. Oh well. So let's go ahead and this part's easy on this side over here. If you're just really careful and patient with this part, you're going to be okay. So there, we're good there, right? That number goes right here every single time. And yeah, so this part's tricky though. So we have 4 and negative 3 times 49 over 36. So let's do that as scratch work. Let's do this part right here first. 3 times 49 over 36. We want to reduce. 3 and 36, that reduces to 1/12. So I've got negative 49 over 12. Yeah? And Mariana wants to know, will I be posting all of the notes for today? Yes, I will, and I'll put them in your guys' room, classroom, or Google Classroom as well, okay? All right, so now, 49 over 12. This reduces, because 3 goes into 36 12 times. And, yeah, so that's what we got. And now we have to multiply that by 4. So we have... No, we have to multiply by... No, we already did. Sorry, we have to add 4 to that. 49 over 12. So we got a couple ways we can do this. I can either change that to be 48 over 4, or I could change this to a mixed number, which is 4 and 1/12. I think either way it's going to work out really easy. So like, would you guys, if I multiply by 12 over 12, that's 48. And that's a positive 48. Oops. And I already have a common denominator of 12 that way, you see? So that's negative 1/12. Now, if I didn't make a sign error or anything silly like that, I think we're good to go right there. It's kind of tricky, though. You have to be careful, take your time, and be patient, all that kind of stuff. But it works out okay. It's not too big of a deal, so I think you'll be all right. So here's what I'll do. I will post all of this stuff for you guys in Google Classroom for both freshman and sophomore. And I will figure out the time today when we're going to go over the quiz from yesterday, the algebraic fractions, which is really, really important. Once again, no matter what you're going to end up doing. So check this out. A lot of what we do is very specific and focused on Cambridge, which is the Cambridge test is a college entrance exam for most of the world. Like here in the United States, we use SAT and ACT. Most of the world, or a large portion of the world, they use the IGSE exam, and then you take that to get into college. So there's a good reason we focus on all that. It gives you a good check of where you're at, and all that. But no matter what, when you move forward, like we don't do the entire high school program for Cambridge, we switch to AP. The math is still the same, so there's some things that translate very, very strongly, some skills. So quadratics really, really translate strongly. It's super important. Some things don't, like the way we do vectors and things like that. That doesn't translate so strongly. It's not as important of a skill with our AP program. But quadratics, algebraic fractions, the ability to factor, to graph, to read graphs, to analyze graphs, trigonometry, all those things, super, super, super important. So no matter what ends up happening, as far as whether we're going to, come back to school April 10th or not, I want to help you guys with all of those kinds of things because I know you're going to need them in the future. And what else we got to do anyway? Watch Netflix all day, you get a little stir crazy. So I'm going to sit here and grow facial hair. Oh yeah, look at that. Man, I should wax it. I have mustache wax. I should totally wax it. And yeah. So I do have news on the Cambridge stuff. I need to get together with our administration team to see what exactly is going to be happening and all of the details. So I don't want to spread any confusion. But as soon as I know which direction's up with Cambridge, I'll let you know. So as of yesterday morning, I heard excuse me. As of yesterday morning, I had heard zero news about what's going on with Cambridge. So some news came out last night, and I need to figure out what our game plan is, okay? And Alicia, yeah, it's true, Ruben's right. We did talk about it yesterday, but that's not a huge deal. And Hector, the big announcement, I was going to tell you guys about that this morning, but I need to get... Sorry, dropped my pencil. I need to get coordinated with the administration team and all those kinds of things, and so I will let you guys know which direction's up with that. If it was just us, I could just tell you exactly what my hope is, what we're going to be doing, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not in charge. I'm not even in charge at home. The pug is. Well, my wife's in charge of the pug, and the pug's in charge of me. I mean, he makes me clean up his poop and feed him, right? So anyway. I'm making my list. I'm going to make a poll to see what kind of times works best for you guys for each class and see if we can create a schedule. right? And I'll come up with a time to grade and review the algebraic fraction stuff. And I think I even attached for you guys the answer key, which is fine because it's really for, this is all for learning. I don't even know how to make you guys accountable for, I can't make you guys be accountable for having academic integrity in this kind of situation. And really, even at school, it's hard to do something like that. I mean, you guys have to be willing and interested in holding yourselves accountable by keeping a focus on really the ultimate goal, which isn't getting a good grade. It's about developing your mind and your work ethic and learning how you work and learning how to put yourself in situations where you can be most successful, right? So I'm going to put together a time thing for you guys. And hey, Adon, how you doing? And I want to know, who is United Monarchy? Who is United Monarchy? If I had to guess, boy, I don't know. United Monarchy. I wonder if that's Eddie Vasquez. I don't know. It could be Demo. It could be anybody. It might be Demo. Who is United Monarchy? Who you be? Oh, is it John? Okay. Vanessa, how you doing, Vanessa? All right. So I'll put together a poll. I'll send it out in Google Forms. You guys can just respond. It'll help me figure out what works best for everybody. I'll try to do the best I can. And then I'll come up with time for you sophomores later today where we will go over the algebraic fractions quiz. And then I will give you guys an update as to what's happening with us for the rest of the semester for the sophomores. Freshmen's not changing any way, shape, or form for us for math. We're in the same program, but for the sophomores, I will figure out and give you guys an update here pretty soon, hopefully, because we should be meeting about it today and talking about our game plan and figuring out what we're going to do. So we got some new information last night. It's not entirely clear. But we did get some information from Cambridge, so we have to figure out what all that means and what we're going to do in response. Either way, no matter what I'm going to be doing is helping you guys to be prepared so math isn't a hurdle for you in your futures. That's really why I do this. And so, I don't know, I'm happy that we have at least some ability to interact and go over some stuff and hopefully have a good time doing it. It's better in person, but, So anyway, I got to jump off. I've got a meeting, the first meeting of the day, coming up here pretty quick. And, yeah. Adon says we should make a group chat. Well, Adon, we kind of do have a group chat. In Google Classroom, that works. And that way, yeah, that works. Alicia says, will we try to have a quiz on Google Forms? Yeah, I don't think we're going to do Google Forms. It's clunky. It's weird. I think it's better, Alicia, if we just do the quizzes where I upload them, and you're welcome, Dida. I think it's better if we just upload the quizzes into Google Classroom. Some of you guys have trouble downloading stuff, but you've just emailed me, so I just email you a copy of the quiz. And you guys try those quizzes on your own on the paper, either on your notes or if you have a printer, you can print them out. And then we just kind of go over them the next day. I think that's maybe the best way to do it. It seems to be the easiest way to get you guys feedback, and there's like one less weird step for each of us. So, anyway, I will definitely be back on later today so we can go over our algebraic fractions quiz, and I will definitely be back on today to give you guys, well, hopefully, an update as to what's happening with the Cambridge tests. So anyway, I had fun with you guys. Much better in person, but for now, this works. So I'm gonna sign off for now, and I will talk to you guys soon.